And our Hannah Davis is out in Collin County with what the drivers might see there.
Good morning, Chris. Well, what you were saying about those slick spots versus the ice everywhere, I think that's a really good point. When you go out, these roads may appear deceptively clear. Take a look at this overpass right here. You're not going to see large sheets of ice. Instead, it's those small patches of ice, and that is what can make you spin out, have an accident, and get into an accident and really hurt yourself. So be careful. Now, let's take a look at what we've been seeing overnight across Collin County. George Bush and Coit, that was shut down for several hours because there were so many slick spots, and we saw so many cars sliding off that area. Also, lots of accidents. So police even put out a tweet saying, look, guys, go slowly and be careful. This morning, you can see the traffic is starting to pick up on these overpasses. And really, if there's one message we can get across to you guys this morning as you head out to go to work and to go to school, it is to go slowly and to be careful so you can get where you're going safely. Now I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
Call Hannah, good morning.
Good morning, Ron. Well, one of the big things we're waiting for this morning is, of course, the identity of that officer. We're not sharing it right now, giving the family time to grieve privately, also giving this department time to grieve privately after this terrible, terrible loss. Last night we had video of people really consoling each other, hugging, crying, and this was just moments after they found out that terrible news that they had lost a loved one outside of that hospital in Plano. Just moments before, or hours before later, we also saw people waiting outside that hospital, waiting for some good news in this case. Sadly, we know that did not happen. We know that officer was shot in the neck, and hours later, around 11 o'clock, the Richardson Police Department came out and they said that they had lost one of their own. This morning, we've been standing out here as police officers continue to do their work. I want you to take a look this morning at this parking lot right here. We've been watching officers come in and out all morning, and it's really incredible to think that they are still doing their jobs while they are grieving the loss of one of their fellow officers. We have also found out that this is the first officer in the state of Texas to lose his life in the line of duty this year. This morning, so many people are thinking of that officer and, of course, his family. Guys.
And Hannah, we know this department has gone through a lot in this last year, particularly investigating a case that gained national attention.
That's exactly right, Ron. You're talking about the Sharon Matthews case. You know, this is a department that relatively is kind of under the radar. I was talking to the chief of police about this. In the last year, of course, they were investigating that missing persons case, Sharon Matthews, a 3-year-old, that really put national and international attention on them. And this has really bonded them with the community. The community even offered them a plaque and really just a way of saying thank you for all that the work they're doing. And this morning, again, we are seeing that community coming forward to be there for this department as they're really grieving an incredibly difficult loss. Guys, back to you.
All right, our Hannah Davis live at the Richardson Police Department this morning. Hannah, thank you.
Hannah said it sort of depends on where you live. At least that's what the bike share companies say. She's live in downtown Dallas. So what do the numbers say, Hannah?
Well, we're going to get to the numbers in just a second, Kara, but first, like you guys were saying, today is the deadline for all 5 bike share companies to really get in compliance with the city. Otherwise, the city says they're going to start cleaning up bikes that are not in compliance. Now, the number one company is, of course, Lime Bike. This morning, the top guys, Anthony, is here to join me, answering questions. Thank you so much for being here early.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first question, I want to look at the numbers that Kara was referencing. We're talking about complaints from people in the city. There's been about 1,000. And about half or more than half have been for Lime Bike. What's the company's response? Why do you think that is?
Well, we have the largest fleet and we have the highest ridership, so I think it's only natural that our bikes are moving around the most. But we look at that as an opportunity and a way for us to improve and better respond to the citizens of Dallas.
And you guys have been working with the city, finding ways to do that. You say, what have you been doing?
Well, for starters, we've been adding more headcount on the ground for our local operations team. We have about 50 on the ground right now, and we plan to double that number by spring.
And Anthony, we got some video up of bikes in some pretty crazy places. I've seen them in the Trinity River, places they're not supposed to be. What have you guys seen? Why is this happening? And again, what is the company's response?
I think probably because it's sort of a new and novel concept, and I think a lot of that behavior will tail off, but I can tell you that our operations people love finding the bikes in those places, and they take a lot of pride in being able to recover them.
So this morning we want to talk about solutions. A lot of people have been proposing bike docking stations. What do you think about that? Is that what we need?
I don't think that's really what we need. I think the city of Dallas actually looked into building docking stations for dock programs before the dockless model got here. The capital expenditure up front, the taxpayers have to pay for those docking stations, so I think that's why they sort of tabled it. And then again, the benefits to the riders. It's not as convenient to be able to have to return it to a docking station versus being able to actually leave it at your destination.
Awesome, Anthony. Thank you so much for getting up early to join
Absolutely.
me. And you're going to join us on I Am Still Up for Facebook Live because this is a much bigger conversation. We've got a lot of questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks.
I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Story from our social media center. It is a cautionary tale.
That's exactly right, Ron. This is a scary story. I mean, how many of us use these apps just to like 5 miles to buy or sell items? And that's exactly, unfortunately, what this young man did. And now he's gone. I want you guys to take a look at some of this video of this 18-year-old Gerard Cage. You can see him joking, dancing, and singing. His family says he was the life of the party, kind, and somebody they'll miss. Now, they've got a lot of questions. This after police say Cage used 5 Miles, a buy-sell app based right here in Dallas, to look for a cell phone. On Friday, he went to meet a seller about a mile from his house, and that's where witnesses say a white, newer model Dodge pickup pulled up, and the male driver fired multiple shots. Those gunshots killed the 18-year-old young man.
He always want to have fun. He always want to be around people that, made him feel that he could be him. We just want to really know what really happened and who was involved, and somebody knows something.
And you guys, as the family searches for answers, so many of you are connecting with the story. Take a look at some of these comments. Crystal Lopez wrote, I have a phone for sale on OfferUp, and I had so many messages, it's hard to trust. And then there's a response from Mario saying, always meet at the police station parking lot exchange area or inside the station. If the seller buyer hesitates, move on to the next person. And that's a really good point. A lot of police departments are opening up their stations or the parking lots as a place where you can exchange these items to make sure you're safe. Now, while these apps may be causing some problems, they could also be the solution. The folks from 5 Miles said they were so saddened to hear about this. And now they're saying they're trying to relay any information they have to police to hopefully solve this case. Ron, Kara, back to you guys.
Where Hannah Davis is live this morning to tell us how this could all play out.
Good morning, Kara. That's right. This is where it all happened. And the question this morning is, what kind of message does the UIL want to send to both of these teams that were involved in this fight? I mean, take a look at this video. It's simply upsetting, really, to watch. You can see both Duncanville in the gray uniforms and DeSoto in black clear their benches after a game. Students, young kids, parents visibly upset at seeing this kind of violence at a high school basketball game. At this point, we have heard from DeSoto school leaders already, and they made the call to pull the team from 2 games. They're also suspending 1 player indefinitely, but Duncanville says they're talking about it, trying to figure out what to do, but they have not pulled their team from any games at this point. In fact, they played a game and did win. Now, this meeting is happening today with the UIL. They can decide what to do here, and they could potentially come down on the coaches, the players, and the entire schools pretty hard. One thing I do want to point out, however, both schools, DeSoto and Duncanville, are eligible for the playoffs. That is something that they could lose depending what the UIL decides. Guys, we're just gonna have to wait. Back to you for now.